you are trying your best to present scenarios and situations that will uncover your students' real desire and need. And for me, for instance, during high school, one of the ways I fulfilled my need of significance was to be in drama. Today is a really special episode because it is episode number 150. I've been doing this for 150 episodes, right? The first 100 episodes were more geared towards personal development, and the last 50 have been specifically for educators, and I've just been really, really happy doing this, and I want to continue to do this for as long as I possibly can. And with that being said, since it's a nice round number, I want to give back to you guys. I want to offer you something. What I'd like to do is, being 150, I'd like to offer my program for a school at 50% off. So, just to give you some context here, my program is well over 4 figures for a program. So I'm giving you 50% off to celebrate you as a listener. I really, really appreciate it. Even if you're taking away one thing from this episode and helping one, or for the show for that matter, and helping one kid, that's awesome. So I want to give back to you. So this offer stands for as long as the first person that reaches out and says, hey, we'd like to work with you. I listened to, let me know. I've listened to episode 150. There was some offer there, and I'll be like, cool, let's do it. And you get 50% off my program. So super excited. Please, what you want to do is head over to kevinmckella.com, and you're going to fill out that form on the book. I think it's like book now, or book a discovery call page, or book a call, whatever it is. And then when we jump on a call, you let me know that you listen to episode 150. So super excited about that. Let's jump into today's show. My daughter is 3.5, and she's really taking to superheroes, which is really cool. She loves The Incredibles. We haven't, she loves Buzz Lightyear, of course. She hasn't really gone into like real superhero world yet because, just movies are usually not age appropriate. So while she does know who Captain America is, she doesn't really, never seen it. Either way, we're talking about like superpowers. And she's not sure yet which one she would want. But it's a very interesting conversation. Because I remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Superman. I wore the costume. I wore the costume and a suit over the costume on like a hot summer day. And my mom was like, Kev, what? And I was like, no, I'm wearing Superman. And like, it was my thing, and I thought a lot back to that and why I was really into Superman. It was a couple of reasons. One, I was a product of the Christopher Reeves Superman. So I watched the Christopher Reeves, Margot Kidder, Superman 1, 2, even 3, really 4. And Christopher Reeves was my Superman. And part of it was how he carried himself. I just thought that was like really just like, I didn't know what I was feeling as a little kid, but I was like, whoa, look at that guy. But here's what I knew as a kid. I wanted to fly. This is coming back to education, I promise. I wanted to fly so bad. That was just like, was obsessed with it. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Just obsessed. I loved climbing things. I loved being up high. Loved to fly. To the point where my mom was like, Kevin, you're not really Superman. And like, she was like, you need to understand this because I can't have you jumping off the garage. And I was like, I know. But I was still just that dream of like, oh my God, imagine. And I now think back on that, and I really like to psychoanalyze that because there was a need. There was something that I was trying to ascertain as a little kid. And maybe this is a byproduct of a divorced family. Maybe this is a byproduct of, seeing a couple things that it wasn't really great and feeling very powerless. But either way, I thought about why I wanted to fly. Yes, I loved heights and I thought that was really cool. But it was more of a, for lack of a better word, shallow reason that I wanted to be able to fly. I wanted to fly just like Christopher Reeves flew in Superman because of what everybody else around him would react and how they would just, oh my God, like how they would just be so just blown away, amazed. Oh my God, And then he goes and saves somebody in midair, right? And then in one hand has Lois and the other hand catches a helicopter. Like, oh my God, who is this guy? This guy is incredible. That was a level of significance that I felt that I needed as a kid. And now that I'm an adult, I like to think about kind of the psychology behind that. Now, there's two different there's two different types of things this falls into when it comes to a need, right? That need for being looked upon and being significant and being held up to a high regard and all that. There falls into like two different kind of very similar types of hierarchy of needs. And
I don't have to tell you, students today are way too stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious about their lives and their futures. This is why I do what I do. As a youth speaker, I teach students to step back from the situation, see the choices they have in front of them, make great decisions, and build positive patterns around this process. Whether it's substance abuse, bullying, or stress about their digital lives, the students I've worked with have had some great success. So I want to work with your students. I want to come down to your school and your event and actually teach your students the art and the science of making great decisions. So click the link below and schedule your call with me so I can learn a little bit more about what you're looking for in your next speaker.
You might have heard that. That's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And there are 5, and then he added a 6th hierarchy of need. It kind of starts with physiological needs, right? We need food, we need water, we need shelter to live. And then I forget the next one, but then it goes into social, we need relationships, we need love, and then kind of like esteem. We need to fulfill our inner needs, our inner wants and desires, whether it's significance or whatever it may be, or the need for certainty. And now we're kind of going into the Tony Robbins worlds. He's taken Maslow's hierarchy of needs and adopted it into his 6 human needs for life or whatever. And I'm going to use his 3rd need, which is significance. And that was a huge part for me of growing up. I needed to feel significant. And again, I don't necessarily know why. I have some ideas, but that's where my psychology hat comes off, and I stop there because I don't know. But it was really interesting because I wanted that level of significance. And what has come about that in my professional life is that I need to do things, and it's been a huge reason of why I'm sitting in front of you today and my pursuit to run my own business, or for that matter, be a professional classical musician. That is a need that fits under the need of significance, but that is a need to be an anomaly of some sort. Do something or be somebody that very few people can be, or is, because that road is very tough. The road to become a professional euphonium player is very niche, very narrow, very tough. And the road to run your own business is also very tricky. It's very, for lack of a better word, again, risky. But it is something that few people do. And when you tell people, "Oh, what's your job? Like, what do you do? What do you work? What's your job?" "Oh, I work for myself. I run my own business." There's this like, "Oh, that's what do you do?" Because they link that to financial freedom. They link that to time freedom. And they link that a lot of things, not necessarily always true, but that's the idea. So, what does this have to do with your students? What this has to do and this story that I decided to tell you about my obsession with Superman and flight and the need to feel significant is that your students have needs. There are maybe some of your students who, in Maslow's needs, are not even getting their first need yet. Their physiological needs. Some of them are coming to your classroom hungry. Some of them are coming to your classroom thirsty and not with a poor night's sleep because they don't even have a clean bed. Like, it is, I don't have to tell you, it is very, very sad and tricky out there to be able to say, okay, we're going to learn fractions today. Like, so there's that. But again, there is almost every one of your students who need something. And our job is to, yes, teach the subject matter, but our job is to try to help your students uncover what they need. I'm not saying that you need to fulfill it because, again, you are not a social worker. You're not a psychologist, even though your administrators are trying to make you one and your district is trying to make you one. You're not. But you are trying your best to present scenarios and situations that will uncover your students' real desire and need. And for me, for instance, during high school, one of the ways I fulfilled my need of significance was to be in drama, right? I loved being on stage. For my junior and senior year, I was the lead role. That, I became known as like the actor guy, right? Like, and that was big. I was on stage in front of everybody, dancing, singing, doing my thing. Like, that, I don't know what this is, but that was the way I fulfilled my significance. And luckily my school had a drama program, had a theater program. Some don't. Some have way better theater programs. So my question to you is, how in your classroom can you instill situations where your students can begin to ask themselves, what do I need? Do I need love and connection? Do I need, the need for variety and uncertainty? Do I need something for my self-esteem? Like, what is it that's driving me? And as Tony Robbins says, like, what is this driving force in my life? Because one of those needs are going to be more of a driving force for your specific students. And to really tap into that and understand that is part of growing up. It's part of becoming an adult, trying to figure out what makes you tick and how you work. So my challenge for you as we head into the summer months is to start to reflect about how can I make my classroom a great learning environment, but a more thought-provoking experience. Maybe this is at the end of every Friday for the last 3 minutes of class, you ask an Alan Watts question. If you don't know who Alan Watts is, fantastic philosopher, Western philosopher, but brought a lot of Eastern ideas into our culture, into our zeitgeist over here. And that I think is something simple, because if you can't spend 2 minutes talking about really important things, then like, why do we get into this job anyway? I know it may not feel like it, but I think, I think there's a lot of ways that we can do this. I think even just talking about these human needs to your students when you have the opportunity, I think is important too. So either way, I challenge you to question the needs of your students and see if you can have them question themselves. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. It was a nice little trip down memory lane for me. If you liked today's episode, then let me know by hitting like, hitting subscribe, and hitting the bell notification to be notified every time I release a new video. And I want to hear from you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what are some of the needs that are so prevalent that you know of, like one or two specific students that they're like just really obsessed with this, or they really get juiced up with that. And let me ask you this, what is your need? What is the thing that lights you up as a teacher and a person? If you like today's episode, then I also think you're going to like this one right over here.